Ladies and gentlemen, it's now 6 o'clock and we are ready to begin. We welcome you, ladies and gentlemen, here for this public hearing. The hearing is for the proposed closing of Creedmoor Elementary School and the relocation of GC Hawley campus to that campus. No decisions will be made tonight. We are here to listen to your concerns and your thoughts. This meeting is now called to order, and we do have a quorum of our board here tonight. Dr. McLean regrets that she's not here, but she has an illness and will have to be joining us on live stream if she can. And the live stream should also be on video to look at later for those that are interested. I now call on the Vice Chair, Mr. Leonard Peace, to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm now turning this over to Attorney Dubison, and she will be going over the procedures and guidelines for tonight's public hearing comments. Attorney Dubison.
Thank you, Chair Williams. The procedure for tonight's public hearing will be as follows. We will call speakers in the order that you signed up, and I apologize if I can't read your handwriting. I will do my best. When I call you, please come up to the microphone here, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. I'll be keeping time here. When your time is up, I will signal you, and please wrap it up at that time so that, and please be respectful of the time limit so that everyone can have an equal chance to speak. The board members will not be responding tonight, and they do not, as she said, they do not intend to make decisions tonight. Tonight is for listening. Any decisions will not be made until a future public meeting. And with that, I will call our first speaker, who is Darcy Arnett. Go ahead.
Hello, I am Darcy B. Arnett. I'm a new kindergarten teacher at Creedmoor Elementary School of the Arts. I have earned my bachelor's degree in English literature, and I have a minor in missions and ministry. In May, I will receive my master's degree in intercultural studies, which means I have done in-depth research and study in anthropology, culture, diversity, and theology. I stand up here in my selfishness to say, I do not want Creedmoor Elementary to close its doors. I do not want our students to be spread out around Granville County. I do not want to see children ripped from their community and their school only to be placed in buildings full of people that may not want them. I just don't want that. I do not stand up here with the type of arrogance or ignorance that would prompt me to declare that I have all the answers. I would not even argue that I know how to make a decision of this size, a decision that greatly affects the lives of many. But you do. What I do have enough courage for is to stand up here and advocate for the little humans that fill the hallways and classrooms of Creedmoor Elementary School of the Arts. What I stand up here to do is fight for the little humans. I understand that the reasoning behind this decision to consolidate is financial strain. I also understand that you, as a school board, have an obligation to supervise and act in ways that ensure the financial success of an entire school district. That is not a small endeavor. I applaud each of you for taking on that role and responsibility. As a teacher who works hands-on with the students every day, I have the duty and I have the responsibility to ask you, have you thought about what happens next? Have you thought about what will happen when you take a group of children away from their safe school and safe community to put them in a new place with new peoples and new adversities that some of them may not have faced yet? Have you thought about what happens next after you have taken what are essentially segregated schools and combined them as one. To assume there would be no difficulties, no harm, that would simply be ignorant, cruel, and unjust to everyone involved. I stand up here today not only to ask the question of what's next, but to ask the question, have you prepared for that? Have you set up training, procedures, or counseling opportunities for students and staff? Have you taken the time to ensure each teacher and staff member in the school is ready to navigate this kind of change? Or have you simply ran numbers and worked out what looks good on paper? If you as a school board are making this decision based on financial and logistical reasons alone, you have failed yourself, you have failed your staff, and you have failed your students.
That's your
If the
time, Ms.
mental,
Arnett.
physical,
Thank you.
and
Please wrap it
emotional
up.
being of our students is not the most valuable component to consider, then we as a whole have failed our children as educators. I am placing my trust in you. We are placing our trust in you. Please choose what is good and right. Please choose the children. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be David Florio.
Good evening. I am not here as a teacher. I am just here as a parent of a student that's currently enrolled in Hawley Middle School and one that is next year going to be a student at Hawley Middle School. So I am pro Creedmoor, but I am going to rep for Hawley right now. Sorry. So one of the news articles that I read today included the following quote from the North Carolina General Statute that local boards of education shall have the power and authority to close or consolidate schools located in the same district whenever and wherever, in its judgment, the closing consolidation will be better serve the educational interests of the school, administrative unit, or any part of it. Closing schools in the Southern District has been under consideration since 2019. First, it was Creedmoor and Wilton. Then it was Hawley still being affected by that. Then it was Hawley being closed and merged with Butner STEM Middle School. Now it's Creedmoor is once again on the chopping block, with Hawley still being affected by it. This decision should have been made years ago, and decisions should not be based on the numbers. Decisions should be made based on the needs of the community. The community, particularly the Southern District of this county, need these schools, okay? As the previous speaker put it, those little people that are in those schools depend on us as the adults to provide them with safe environments to spend their time. Sometimes this is the best environment for these kids for hours at a time. I'd also like to consider this when deciding whether or not Hawley should be part of this whole procedure and merged or moved, I apologize, to the Creedmoor campus. Transportation. Now, one of the statements that was made in the study was we have to consider transportation for extracurricular activities. We also have to acknowledge there is a massive bus driver shortage. We can't get kids to school on time. When we do have a bus driver shortage, some of these buses leave early, so you're taken away from class time. So how are we going to have kids who want to play sports go from the Creedmoor campus, maybe here to South Granville to play on the fields, or even go back over to Hawley? Two, we keep talking about charter schools and charter schools being a drain. Charter schools are a drain on the attendees of these schools because we're not making an effort to put anything into the schools. If you give a mass audience the choice of 3 cars, but keep threatening that one of those 3 cars is going to be discontinued in 3 years, and you're not going to service it, you're not going to do anything to it. As a matter of fact, you don't even know if it's going to run in 3 years. But then somebody else comes along and says, here's a car that's going to work all the time. You never have to worry about fixing the car. You never have to worry about the car needing service. It's always going to be there for you. People are going to go to what they know and what they're going to be comfortable with and know that their kids are going to be in the same school from kindergarten through 12. The potential shift of the Butner STEM Middle School reach also needs to be considered. The map included with that study at best is incomplete. It's hard to read personally. I found it very difficult to read. But I don't want my kids having to drive 20 minutes to go to Butner STEM from where we live. And I am afraid that if we decide to consolidate the campuses of Hawley and Creedmoor and extend the reach of Butner STEM, that we're going to be affected by that.
Thank you, Mr. Florio.
I have like 2 more points to make. I'm sorry.
Your 3 minutes has expired.
I want all you guys to go to the Hawley girls and boys basketball game beginning at 4:30 tomorrow and watch the kids cheer on their classmates and see what the school spirit they have and see how much Hawley affects those kids and helps that community. Thank you for your time. Go Creedmoor.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Lisa Bowen. Go ahead.
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to express my comments tonight. I am a parent of a Creedmoor Elementary School student, a member of this community for 6 years, or close to 6 years. Creedmoor has been in this community school for close to 50 years. There is a legacy and community built around a school in the heart of Creedmoor. The study states that you must consider the inconvenience or hardship that might result to the pupils to be affected by such closing or consolidation. However, that study does not do a good job of addressing those factors. It takes more than 3 sentences to do that. My comments are to show those factors are more than dollar signs and declining enrollment. They are principal, assistant principal, teachers, staff, students, and their families. The impact on the community would be significant, and geographically, this closure does not make sense, when other elementary schools are 1.2 miles from each other and also have a 50% surplus capacity. However, listening to the academic updates from last week's meeting, it looks like you've made up your mind and you're giving us this courtesy because you have to, but not listening to how this will affect the only elementary school in the Creedmoor city limits. The information sourced on student growth was from 2018, and we have had many new residential developments like the one next to my neighborhood, and more to come. So closing an elementary school in the heart of the city with 2 other southern end elementary schools nearing capacity, how does this make sense? The estimates that you provide are rough and dated. Give us real and current numbers. Hawley students may fit in Creedmoor, but by being creative. Seriously, they deserve a traditional middle school experience with proper band and athletic facilities. For sure, there's other creative ways to keep Creedmoor open that will address the shortfall that will still be there if and in fact you close our school. We love our school. From the moment you walk in the door to dismissal, you see and feel the love. But for whatever reason, our school seems to be viewed as an easy target because of our D rating. When actually there's one other school that has dropped in grade and growth. Correspondence from the district on October 29th states that a single score does not tell the whole story. Our state does not equally weigh growth and proficiency either. Plainly stated, some of our students come in behind, and because of the dedication and hard work of our teachers, they show tremendous growth towards proficiency. We also strive that we are one of the most diverse schools in our district. Consider this: some of our children in our school have never been to preschool, never spoken English, have parents that do not speak English. Then take another look at our growth numbers.
Thank you, Ms. Bowen. Our next speaker will be Cindy Daniel.
Creedmoor Elementary has been my home for 23 years. I have seen my students grow from pre-K through 5th grade. These are our babies. I have a special and unique relationship with each and every student at Creedmoor. We are all one big family. You as a board will be destroying our students' morale if you choose to close Creedmoor. Each and every staff member at Creedmoor loves and cares for these students as if they were their own. You will be putting a hardship on our parents who have to figure out new routines to fit their work schedule. Our parents know that we teachers take pride in teaching their children. I have seen many principals, assistant principals, teachers, and other staff that come through Creedmoor over the past 20+ years. We are short-staffed this year, but for the love of our students, we have come together as a team and a family to teach and give our students the best education that we can. We as a staff have stepped up to the challenge to cover classes and take more responsibility to get the job done, no matter how tired or exhausted we feel. We have not complained about these extra duties because we know it is our students. It is about our students and not about us as individual teachers. We have the best administration and staff at Creedmoor and the best in this county, whether you realize it or not. You will regret sooner than later closing Creedmoor and trying to turn into a temporary middle school campus. Your quick turnaround study looks good on paper, but in reality is a struggle to work. Some middle school staff may be happy with the new space, but not all staff. Some staff will struggle to teach our students in the small space provided. The elective classes like PE, band, and chorus will struggle the most due to inadequate space to teach. Space that is meant for elementary school and not middle school. The student morale for middle school will be at its all-time low because Creedmoor's campus will not feel like a middle school campus, especially for Creedmoor students who will return. You as a board will be putting these students' lives in danger if there is a real lockdown. In today's time, shooting can happen anywhere and anytime. The gym doors at Creedmoor do not lock, and we have to leave the gym within less than a minute to get to safety. The music room and band room will not hold middle school classes safely for a lockdown. As a parent of 2 Hawley students, I do not want my kids put into an unsafe situation. You need to think twice about the safety of the middle school students and staff and not rush to put a quick fix on closing Creedmoor temporary to relocate Hawley. You will save this county $500,000 on a campus that you would never use again. One final thing, you think this county has a teacher shortage now? Well, there is no guarantee that Creedmoor teachers will transfer to another school in Granville County. Many could move to another county where the school system appreciate their teachers and staff and care for the well-being of their students, unlike you do for Creedmoor. Class sizes will be larger and students will not get the education they deserve due to the lack of teachers. Keep Creedmoor open and keep our students where they belong. You will regret closing Creedmoor sooner than later. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Ava Spruill. And after Ms. Spruill, we have Thelma Thomas Mungo.
My mom is a social worker for this school, and I do not want this school to close because other kids need to learn.
Good evening. So I'm Thelma Thomas Mungo. I'm actually here speaking on behalf of Samantha Harris, who for some unforeseen circumstances could not be here this evening. So board members, thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts regarding the redistricting and consolidation plan. I'm more than sure that you all have many hard decisions to make, and you all have already spent many hours on this decision already. However, I just want to share a different perspective. First, I'd like to say that I know previously I was in agreeing with closing Creedmoor Elementary, but after hearing the results of the survey at the last meeting, I'm not sure that that is a good idea after all. I keep hearing Hawley will fit, but will it really fit? When the reports indicate that the gym was too small, as well as there is no space for the band, we do not see how much more it will cost to make the additional renovations. But I'm sure it would be costly because it's not just the academic space, but also the athletic space that was not even addressed in the report. Converting the elementary school to a middle school is not the most economical or feasible when there is already a school already available. Which brings me to my first point. Instead, I propose that we move GC Hawley to Granville Central. It is already equipped with the space as well as the needed academic accommodations. The Granville Central students can either go to South Granville or Webb. By reverting back to 2 high schools, which we've already done successfully for many years in the past, more of the academic shortfalls could be addressed, i.e., more AP classes and more course choices. And it could create an opportunity to reintroduce some of the athletics to the high schools that had to eliminate them due to not having enough students to participate. In addition, I propose that Wilton students move to Tar River. It is just not a great idea to have Wilton remain open with 54% capacity where there is a newer school less than a mile away that can accommodate the students. If you close Wilton, it can serve as a potential site for another middle school in the future, as it was a K-8 for many years. Lastly, the growth coming in very quickly. Right now we have these issues in the southern end of the county, but very soon there will be more issues on the northern end. We need to start looking at the bigger picture. With other changes we can start making now to accommodate the growth. Do we need another high school? Do we need another middle school? We can consolidate more schools that are grossly under capacity. Can we do this saving money and streamlining the budget now? A lot of things need to be considered, and I believe that you all continue to hear the voices of the people and do what more needs to be done to make sure it is done with the care and concern for the students, family, and all those who provide their education. Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Kristen Dickerson. After Ms. Dickerson will be James Daniel.
Gonna get that back some. Good evening, Granville County School Board. We're back again, asking again that you keep Creedmoor Elementary open. We've been doing this for several years and have heard all the reasons that the school board thinks we should close, the most recent being that Dr. Frederick believes that we are the low-hanging fruit. Unfortunately, I only have 3 minutes, so I can't expand on that as much as I'd like, but rest assured that our students, staff, administration, and families feel differently. We work to be a part of the Creedmoor community, hosting Walk to School every year with our city police officers, council leaders, and the Creedmoor Parks and Rec Department. With the help of the Oxford Ledger and the library system, we created and filled little libraries around town to make sure that our kids always have access to books. We host camps with GlaxoSmithKline and Moorhead Planetarium to foster STEM excellence in our kiddos. We've donated funds to support feeding the children of Granville County schools during spring break over COVID. We're engaged and certainly not the low-hanging fruit you'd like to depict us as. We've explained over and over who we are and what we stand for with petitions, letters, emails, and visits to the Board of Education. Our families are served by representatives for District 5 and 7. We need you to know that we are the constituents that you've been elected to represent and hope that you'll listen to us as your former counterparts, Dr. McKnight and former Chairman Richardson did. It doesn't inspire a lot of confidence when one of you refers to us as low-hanging fruit and another board member asks if we really need to have another public hearing before voting to close. At this point, it appears that you've decided that the best decision financially is to close our school and move Hawley to Creedmoor Elementary. I don't believe that this is true. I've seen no plans for an additional exit from the school. There's currently only one exit from which all car riders and buses will need to enter and exit for arrival and dismissal. Traffic during these times often rolls out to Highway 56, just down the street from the high school and Mount Energy. Doubling the amount of cars and having 2 schools to dismiss at the same time less than a mile apart will certainly make this worse. Has the DOT been contacted regarding a traffic study? An additional entryway will surely increase the cost. Next, we saw at the last meeting the plan showing us how everyone would fit. Please go in and walk the halls of this school. My children are in 6th and 7th grade at Hawley. I spent 6 years walking the schools at Creedmoor. The 2nd grade classroom that you hypothetically had a 7th grade class situated will not fit 25 to 30 people, middle school children. There's no science lab. It looks like construction didn't call for one. Mr. Peace didn't see the need to update the tiny toilets, and I'd invite him to go use those bathrooms a few times to see if his mind changes. The music room has been deemed too small. The gym is not usable for athletic events, has no locker rooms for dressing out. There are no athletic fields, none of which is mentioned in the cost sheet. If we continue to use the gym at Hawley, we're keeping that facility open and paying for those costs for building that will otherwise go unused. Please don't rush to take these half measures. Please take a moment to do this the correct way and show us that you care about all of the kids in Granville County. Consolidating South Granville and Granville Central and moving Hawley to Granville Central seems like a more sound idea. Little work would have to be done, more opportunities could be created at the high school level with the extra funds, and our middle school would have an appropriately sized building to grow and learn in. Consolidating Tar River and moving the Leader in Me program could be a viable option. Since so many of the Wilton children are there because it's a choice school, parents should be willing to transport them the extra 0.8 of a mile to Tar River. I will end this again by asking you to think about the reorganization process further. There are K-6, K-8, year-round options that I haven't thought about. Get creative and do the work. I'm sensitive to your position. You will not be able to please everyone. Our county commissioners have put you in this position to make these unpopular decisions because they appear not to support public school education and continue to work to completely dismantle Granville County schools to punish our children for the mistakes of the former superintendent and former board. Until they can be convinced that our children are worth investing in, ultimately, I fear that there will be no real change. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be James Daniel, followed by Gregory McKnight.
Good evening. My name is James Daniel. I come speaking primarily because every time something happened in our area, it always concludes that if you get rid of Hawley School, your problems are all over. Started at Hawley, graduated from Hawley. I'm 80 years old now, and I've been fighting this battle all of the time, and it still looks like we want to transfer Hawley. My real question is to someone, and I don't know who I should be asking, what happened to all of the money that should have been put in Hawley when you say that all these things need to happen? What happened to all the money that should have been put in there in the beginning? I know you all might not have been on the board, but we need to take a good look at that. One of the reasons a large icon of our community is African American. And now we're talking about moving Hawley to a little school that they can't even get into, the big kids can't use the bathroom. It is time that we take a look at fixing what we have, especially Hawley. And if you have to move some more, we got plenty of land down there to fix it on and plenty of buildings. Please, ma'am, please, sir, don't move Hawley. Don't close the school. Bless you.
Our next speaker will be Gregory McKnight, followed by Alan Daniel.
Good evening. I'm going to go kind of fast so I can get it all in. Gregory McKnight, former board member. First, I would like to say that I'm fully aware of the complexities involved in the decision that you have to make. And as a friend of the board, I only ask that you thoroughly consider your decision and larger impact of converting Creedmoor into an undersized middle school campus. So let me start by saying that I understand the need to consolidate due to decreased enrollment and the need to efficiently utilize our current facilities. However, the students, families, and community need to have the question answered, why Creedmoor? When it comes to using facilities in the most efficient manner, the current decision to close Creedmoor is an illogical choice and, quite frankly, fiscally irresponsible. So, a few other points to consider. As stated in your closure study, you have identified issues with the size of the gym, the band room, the lack of athletic fields, as well as several renovations that would have to be conducted to make this elementary building a suitable building for middle school students. Would this building even have locker rooms for students to dress out? Even when the proposed renovations are completed, the building still would not be a sufficient middle school campus. So another question regarding this closure: is this renovation a permanent solution or a temporary stopgap? Because either decision is a waste of resources that could be directed to other needs. So another point to consider: at the most recent board meeting, the closure study was reviewed, and it was shared that of the 307 students enrolled at Creedmoor, 17 do not reside in the school's attendance zone. That means 290 students would have to be reassigned from their base school and attend schools outside of their current attendance zone, resulting in longer bus rides for these elementary students. Whereas a school such as Wilton, which is at 54% capacity with a population of 245 students, approximately 114 of them residing outside of Wilton, could readily fit inside of Tar River, which is located 0.8 of a mile and has a surplus capacity of 244 spots. The closure of Wilton would make more sense and result in a lesser impact to students due to the number of students in the attendance zone and the proximity of the schools. It would also save money by deferring upcoming building maintenance needed at Wilton. Again, what is the logic behind closing Creedmoor? We have discussed several times the desire to expand our pre-K offerings and have floated the idea of using a building at Hawley. I would suggest that Creedmoor be better used for this expansion since the facility is already set up for small children. To my knowledge, the pre-K population of students are not currently served by area charters. Students enrolled in our pre-K program are more likely to stay for kindergarten and for their elementary schooling experience. New members, I ask that you dig into the numbers and examine what the cost would be if Hawley was moved to Granville Central's campus. We currently have 3 traditional high schools and could actually function with 2. Prior to 2007, the district functioned with 2 traditional high schools, and I'm not sure why we couldn't do it again. 2 traditional high schools would create better academic opportunities for all of our high school students, and it would also better utilize our current facilities by increasing enrollment at the high schools. Moving Hawley to Central's campus would not require large-scale expensive renovations. It would also not involve busing students to athletic fields for practice. The cost associated with moving Hawley would be primarily a cosmetic one. You just need some paint. So, in closing,
Thank you, Mr. McKnight.
I would just say, you guys, don't make a bad decision for the sake of making a decision. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Alan Daniel, followed by Eva Lee.
Good evening. As a husband of a school teacher and a father of children in Granville County Public Schools, I find it my duty to be here for this meeting tonight to support my family, my wife, my kids, teachers, and staff, along with the parents and students of Creedmoor Elementary School. We all know the conditions at Hawley are less than perfect. This is nothing new. It's been around for years. It seems that since the 2 new school board members have taken the bull by the horns and opened it up again, this should have been done the first part of the year instead of the 1st of December. Teachers did not get a good Christmas vacation this year because that December 19th email sent out made teachers' lives a living hell over Christmas vacation. Don't rush to judgment to close Creedmoor Elementary School to relocate Hawley. There are 4 elementary schools that feed into Hawley, and you want to close one of those elementary schools to put Hawley in. Looks good on paper, but in reality, not so fast. It's like trying to put a golf ball through a water hose. Extra expenses, renovating, gas for buses, $500,000 to renovate, not knowing what the supply chain issues may come up. If you go ahead and make the decision to close, you may be in a worse shape or in the fall without having a school and having one elementary school closed. Some people have already said relocating Hawley to Granville Central High School is a good idea. I also proposed maybe putting Hawley into South Granville, dividing it in half. You'll already be here. This is the campus that they come to when they come to high school. The athletic facilities are already here. You will save on gas, save expenses, and you won't have to pay that $500,000 to renovate Creedmoor Elementary. It's going to be a logistics nightmare for parents and many of the students because most of the Creedmoor Elementary School students are inner city children. Extra mileage, extra expenses for parents. Look at the future growth and the current growth of Granville County. Tar River and Mount Energy are already seeing growth, and it's only going to get worse with all the construction and all the subdivisions going up here in the southern end of the county and also in the northern end of the county. Closing Creedmoor will be a dramatic hit to the community and this community here. Also, closing Hawley or changing Hawley's name will be a dramatic hit also. Hawley has strong traditions with the African community, and we need to keep Hawley at Hawley and keep the name Hawley and don't change the name Hawley.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Your time is up.
Don't rush to judgment, and please keep Creedmoor Elementary School open.
Our next speaker will be Eva Lee, followed by Sherry Womack.
Good evening. Good evening, members of the school board. My name is Eva Lee. I am a brand new teacher at GC Hawley with just 2 months of employment as a lateral entry new teacher. The commitment I'm making to teaching as a career will require me to take at least 4 college courses, take the praxis, and become licensed. So my summer will be booked getting better trained as a teacher for the little humans that will feed in from Creedmoor. I have a master's degree, a Juris Doctor, and a Bachelor of Science. I want to thank the school district and Dr. Chisnell for hiring me and giving me an opportunity to bring stability to a classroom and offer things like the spelling bee that we had today, maybe PTA National Reflections and Odyssey of the Mind next year, and to continue serving over 80 children as a teacher for English Language Arts and Social Studies next year. My hope is for a GC Hawley PTA fed by the parents at Creedmoor and the other schools, and to be a PTA family as one from K-12 to beyond. My hope is also to be a part of the International Baccalaureate program that Dr. Chisnell is working on. In 2017, while my son and daughter's school was on the list to be rebuilt in Wake County, I was parked in the carpool lane and was hit head on, not even a year after being rear-ended somewhere else and having plates put on my neck. And the only reason I'm told that I survived that is because the airbags didn't go off. So while waiting for that school to be rebuilt and the carpool lane to be taken off Strickland, I was hit head on. So I know some of the angst that exists when you're waiting for a school to be rebuilt. Change is hard. 4 years later, West Millbrook has been rebuilt, and though both my children have moved on, the kids that now attend my kids' school have a state-of-the-art brand new middle school, and it affected my home price. I respect the parents and the community stakeholders from Creedmoor Elementary and will respect the decision of the board and go to work wherever I'm told to. I ask that you consider that the air handlers in the hallways and whatever it is that's growing on the vents that are right above my desk, and consider that for our posterity means that we all make sacrifices for our future. If you build it, they will come. If Creedmoor had a state-of-the-art middle school positioned halfway between Durham and Raleigh, I know it would be a positive for all the stakeholders. I know that I'm willing to drive 20 miles each way to wherever the board tells me to work, but I would like to work in a place with a little less broken glass and where I can't hear anything in the hallways at all. I really can't hear in the hallways at all because of the air handlers. I don't want my long-term hearing or the students' long-term hearing to be lost over time because of the air handlers for whatever the air quality issues are. And so my hope is that you consider doing this and we end up with a state-of-the-art public school, and then when it is done, give Creedmoor Elementary back to the families that are here tonight. Build the future together. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Sherry Womack, followed by Mary Harris.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing the public the chance to speak. I spoke at the South Granville hearing, so I am still not a public speaker, but I will do my best. Once again, you all have a hard job, and I don't envy you. It's very unfortunate to still be in this position. My youngest of 3 children is an 8th grader at Hawley, so she is my last to go through Hawley Middle School. Some may wonder why I am here, but I just wanted to support Hawley in however this turns out and say thank you. I was at the 8th grade honor roll awards last week, and Dr. C thanked the teachers and staff that have stayed, and I wanted to do the same. I don't judge or blame any staff that left, but I truly appreciate the ones that are still here as this situation has continued. It is very unfortunate to be in this position, both for Hawley and Creedmoor Elementary, so my heart goes out to both schools. Unfortunately, out of all the ideas that have been discussed, moving Hawley to the Creedmoor Elementary location makes the most sense from a location and practical sense. Although now it has been said that school designation lines may need to be redrawn, and there may be building considerations regarding the band room and the gym, so that concerns me. Keeping Hawley open has a lot of the same reasons that were brought up for South Granville High School. It's the only middle school on the southern end of the county, so location is a big factor. Hawley and South Granville already share bus routes. With the continuing teacher shortage, it would seem keeping those schools close together, it would seem likely that maybe the 2 schools could share resources, since some middle schoolers take high school courses, in particular math. It seems that compared to some of the other proposals, this one would be the least disruptive and quickest option to help with the Hawley situation. However, is it the best? Hawley's history alone is a big reason to keep it open as well. Closing any school is never an easy decision, so I think of you all as you listen to all opinions and try to make the best decision you can for our schools. Please make sure there is no other way possible to fix this without closing any of our schools. In closing, I did want to say a lot gets said about trying to compete with the charter schools and the bigger school districts like Wake County. I think our county has a lot to offer without having to compete. We moved to Southern Granville County partly because of our community-type schools, and if I had to do it all over again, I would still have chosen Granville County. No school district is perfect, and while we do have things to work on, I still think it was the best decision for my family and my children to go to our schools over others. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Mary Harris, followed by Linda Edwards.
Good evening. I had no intention of being here saying that tonight. But on that note, I'm not here to put down anyone or any school closing, but I remember when I was going to school, I thought this could not happen again. The teachers helped raise the children. They taught us how to be young ladies. They taught the men how to be young gentlemen. I thought them days was absolutely gone until Creedmoor Elementary School of the Arts. My daughter works there. She comes home and talk about those kids and how if they mess their clothes up, how they clean them up, get them dressed, and get them back to the classroom, and how every morning they stand out in the hall. She works in the office, but she's out in the hall hugging kids and telling them, I love you. What more can you ask for? A child to tell a child, I love you. If I was still a parent or in the school and had a child, I would be fighting like hell to get my child in the Creedmoor Elementary School of the Arts, because it still exists. It's still when parents, you can send your child to school and you know your child is loved by them teachers, you can't ask for no more. I thought those days was gone. They are not gone. They does that at Creedmoor Elementary School of the Art. That's just her whole talk. Miss Hardy, Miss McKnight, how they love those kids. You can't ask for no more. If I was a parent, I'm telling y'all, I'd fight like hell to get my child in that school.
Miss Linda Edwards.
Jesus. Good evening, board. Good evening, staff from the county office. And I'm very sorry Dr. McLean is not able to be here. Those of you that don't know me that are new on the board, my name is Linda Edwards, and I am Reverend Hawley's granddaughter. I am here representing Reverend Hawley's family and G.C. Hawley alumni. I am also a former teacher of 20-some years. I am also an artist and an advocate. I know all about Creedmoor Elementary. I know all about all the schools in the county, and I understand the fight. I understand the fight I have been doing to keep Granddaddy School open. I can tell you all about the history real quick. One thing y'all don't know, my grandfather's a descendant of Tuscarora Indians, of a Tuscarora chief, as a matter of fact. He also has an ancestor that fought in the Revolutionary War. Not even to include all the things that he helped the people in this racist area deal with during segregation. That school would not be there had they not hired him when he finished up college and came down here from Lincoln University. Those of you that know me know I already know this is a hard decision. I know that. And I know this is a Band-Aid. It is not the miracle I asked for, because I'm still waiting for it. To close Hawley because of the finances is not your fault. I know it's the county commissioners. I've been here a long time. I know it's the previous board members, not those included here who are still here. I want you to consider that moving Hawley to Creedmoor Elementary, changing the name of Creedmoor Elementary to G.C. Hawley Middle School Annex, leaving G.C. Hawley Middle School on the existing campus, not selling the campus, not tearing down anything, and I request that you create a committee that will be used to repurpose Hawley, because it can be done that. My thing is, if this is the Band-Aid that needs to be done, I am fine with it. I do not want the names changed. I don't want the property sold, and neither does the alumni. Neither does G.C. Hawley's family. We have been through too much. Some of y'all ain't even from here. A lot of y'all ain't from here. So when you start talking about taking people's land that the citizens gave my granddaddy, because this school did not belong to Granville County School, because some of y'all don't even know the history. It was donated by a black farmer, and that's not the original place. That's the land that was donated. In a year of him being there, he turned it into a high school. So I do know how hard it is. You know I know. I've been with y'all 5-6 years with this. I encourage you to create a committee to reorganize Hawley, because it can be done. And I know, again, and thank you, I'm sorry.
Thank you,
I
Ms.
know,
White.
again, it is a hard decision. Thank you so much.
And that was our last speaker.
As Attorney Dubison said, that is our last speaker. We appreciate the people that came out to share their concerns and their thoughts. As Attorney Dubison said, no decision will be made tonight. We will go back to our work session and talk further about the things we've heard tonight and some of the concerns that you have. So the next work session for the board will be on January 23rd at 4 o'clock, and that meeting will be live streamed. If you want to come and listen, you're certainly welcome to. We don't do public comments in that hearing. But we do appreciate you being here and joining us tonight. And with that, I will adjourn this public hearing. Thank you.